Did the Chicago Bulls just win a basketball game, ladies and gentlemen, and without Zach Lavine? I do kid, guys, and every now and then we have to make fun of our team here and there, especially with how poorly the Bulls have been playing recently. I wasn't sure, when was the next time we were actually going to see this team win a game, especially after it was announced that Zach was going to be missing significant time. But rather than losing to one of the worst teams in the league, like the Bulls have done recently, the guys finally took care of business, and wouldn't you know it, they actually closed out a game, taking over in the final 2 minutes. So what's going on, everyone? You were listening to Bull Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Guys, obviously it's great to see the Bulls get a win, finally, although I'm sure, the tankers that are out there, they're probably not happy about this win. But for me, it was good seeing the Bulls get a win. But all of that being said, it was against the Cavs, one of the worst teams in the league, so nothing to get too excited about. These are the type of games that the Bulls should be winning, even without Lavine. Granted, the Bulls did lose to this same Cavs team right before the trade deadline with Lavine, and the Cavs didn't have Sexton or Kevin Love for that game. Don't read into that statement. I don't want to hear Bulls fans saying that we're clearly better without Lavine after a win against a bad team. No, the Bulls are not better off without Lavine. Now, if we go on a crazy win streak while Lavine is out and then he comes back and the Bulls start losing again, well, that might be a different story, but that's also not going to happen. Now, what I like from this game, though, was ball movement. Ball movement, and the Bulls took care of the ball as well. They had 30 assists on 10 turnovers tonight, one of their best assist to turnover ratios of the season. And we all know the Bulls have struggled turning the ball over all season. So to see them only turn it over 10 times, even with all the ball movement, was great to see, even if it was against a bad team like the Cavs. The other thing that was great to see was Lauri Markkanen finally had himself a nice game and ended up closing out the game as well. He also had a very big three with a little over 2 minutes left to go in the game to put the Bulls up 6. And that really ignited that run from the Bulls, when they went on those last 2 minutes to close out the game, because the Cavs were right on their tails up until those final 2 minutes until we finally took over. But yeah, to see Markkanen go for 16 points on 6 for 12 shooting and 3 for 6 from 3, again, not as reliant on his 3-point shot so much, something I had talked about in the last night's postgame video, which I actually uploaded this morning. I really wanted to see Lauri drive more inside and score in the paint. He's a 7-foot big man. He shouldn't just be settling for a 3-point shot. And he had 6 rebounds on top of that, so that was good to see. He was plus 14 on the night. On the other side of the token, though, all of you Coby Hall of Famers, well, this is exactly what I was talking about. Coby's biggest issue: consistency. I raved about his performance in the last game, except for his defense, of course, but I was so pleased to see how much he stepped up and took an opportunity to shine being back in the starting lineup, and had one of the best games of his season. And then he comes out tonight, shoots 2 for 10 from the floor, 1 for 6 from 3 with 8 points in total. However, I will say his 9 assists were very impressive. He has started looking more comfortable out there distributing the ball, and despite Satoransky being back in the lineup, Donovan decided to stick with Coby for this one. So despite Coby's subpar offensive efficiency night, he made up for it with his playmaking and finding the right passes and getting guys involved in the paint. And then we also had a decent game from Patrick Williams. It was great seeing him be a bit more aggressive on the offensive end, scoring 12 points on 5 for 6 shooting to go along with 4 rebounds and 3 assists. And Valentine, he's like the one player on this team that I just love to hate sometimes, but 13 points for him off the bench, and he had some big shots too, some nice floaters, but I still wish he would stop shooting the 3 ball so much. And then, of course, Vucevic, the player of the game for the Bulls. He was all over the place tonight and very efficient, shooting 10 for 17 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, for 25 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. He had a team best plus 16 on the night. This is what the Bulls have got to start doing. This is what it's going to take for the Bulls to be successful, is feeding Vucevic the ball, finding him in the paint, allowing him to post up guys who are smaller than him. And that's what they have to do when Lavine is out. He has to be their main go-to guy. He's by far and away their most consistent player that they have to utilize more on the offensive end. I will say, and I expressed this in my last post-game video, I still want to see Troy Brown Jr. get more minutes. Denzel Valentine should not be getting more minutes than Troy like he did tonight. Garrett Temple should also not be getting more minutes than Troy Brown Jr. I actually would love to see the Bulls to try testing Troy Brown Jr. in the starting lineup at the 2 with Lavine being out, just to see how the lineup shakes out. I mean, this is the time to experiment when your star player is out. The kid hustles, he plays great defense, and he's got to be on the court more than 18 minutes. It's just unacceptable for someone that actually has his defensive ability when the Bulls need defense. The other thing that was great to see was the Bulls shot the ball well tonight. 50% from the field, 40% from 3. They've got to continue finding their 3-point shot, as we know they have really struggled with that ever since the trade deadline, despite adding a 3-point shooting big man who more often than not, when he first joined anyway, the team was just not able to find him and those open, with those open 3-pointers on the pick and pop. Anyway, like I mentioned, it was a good game to see the Bulls finally get a win, but it was against the Cavs, and even in the game, the Bulls weren't really fully out of the woods yet until the final minute and a half or so. So still a lot of work to be done with this team, but a win without Zach Lavine, I'll take it. And it was also great because now the Bulls didn't go winless for the whole week, going 0-4, and they will head into next week with potentially some momentum, which is needed, especially since the schedule will be getting a little harder, which I'll cover in more detail in my weekly preview video that I'll have out on Monday. I'll have a video out tomorrow on an interesting topic, well, at least I think it's interesting anyway, and it has to do with Zach Lavine, so be on the lookout for that tomorrow. As always, guys, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, as always, and I will catch you guys in the next one.